Hey everyone, welcome back to the LBP Speedrunning Guide. Today we'll be covering the construction site. Do a dialogue jump right after you spawn so you don't get caught on Mags' legs. This race gate skip is pretty easy to do if you land in the right spot because of the slope before it. After the checkpoint there'll be two fireballs. If you got the race gate skip you should land in between them, then jump over the second one. If you didn't get it, then jump over both at the same time. Once you reach the end of the race, there's a small skip to do. Jump onto the first metal beam, and try to time a moving LCJ off the second one to get straight up to these sponges to then swing left. This saves about 10 seconds, so it's worth practicing. But if you miss the LCJ, it can be hard to try it again and it might not be worth it. So instead, move to the third beam to start rocking it back and forth. After you've pushed the right side down for the second time, you can use the swing to get up to where the LCJ would have put you. Swing across the sponges, and make it up to before the next race gate, where you can time a short jump off this platform to go straight over it. Just be careful of the fireballs and the gas afterwards, or you'll be sent really far back. Run all the way left, and avoid the fire by switching layer or jumping over it. Then it's fastest to try and go over this section. Jump off the elevator early and skip the sponge by jumping past, then fire boost off the basketball. There's a bounce jump here that can get you up to the next section early, but it's pretty hard, so just keep going and kill the enemy. You'll pretty much never have to wait for the enemy's hammer to move out of the way here, because it only starts moving once you're within a certain range of it. If it's far enough left, you can even use it to reach the beam. Or even doing a bubble jump can kill it faster. Make it to the next enemy, and wait for the hammer to be out of the way to kill it. If it's too close to the edge, you might need to wait on the previous platform. After this, it's pretty much a straight run to the boss fight. Just be careful not to die, since the checkpoints are really far apart here. It can help a lot just to wait for a second before some jumps if there might be a fireball in the way. There's also a few different ways to get behind this conveyor belt which lets you run slightly faster, but it's not something you need to try to be doing. Once you reach the boss fight, a dialogue box will open around when you reach the middle of the arena, so anticipate a jump to avoid that, then grab the platform. And it's actually the rightmost player sensor that begins the fight, which is different than what activates the dialogue. It doesn't matter too much which side of the platform gets grabbed, but if you hold it from the right, you can exit the arena faster later. For the first enemy, you have to wait until its third shot to kill it. You can get it on the second shot by delaying the fireball bounce, but it doesn't save that much time and it's super risky. So have the platform ready around here, and start pulling it to the right as the fireball gets shot. Run to the left, and get ready to kill the next enemy on the first shot. You might have to learn the positioning, but the method of killing it is the same as before. For the last enemy, you should wait all the way to the left and use the third shot to finish the boss fight. Missing this one is pretty annoying because it can be hard to get another chance to kill the boss after this, so it's worth practicing. It is actually possible to kill the last enemy using its first shot if you get super lucky. If you line up the platform so its bottom right corner is sitting above the first black square to the right of the bolt, there's a chance the fireball will do a perfect bounce to kill him. It's pretty unlikely to happen though, but it's actually worth going for since if you miss it, you still have time to get the normal shot. But once it's over, run through the door after it opens and do a short dialogue jump past Z-Dude to not change layer onto him. Try and do some single layer LCJs to climb these stairs, or even just a regular LCJ off the bottom, which is a bit harder. Then quit early to the pod. Now, about the skip. So, there's actually a super hard trick in this level that saves about a minute over the normal route that we just went through. It skips everything past the moving LTJ up to before the boss fight. It's done by getting on the left side of this enemy, then as it's as far right as it can go, you time a jump off its hammer as it's swinging right to get flung upwards, then do an LTJ to make it all the way up into this little gap in the roof. You'll land on a ramp that leads straight to below the arena. You can then jump at the top of it to get back in bounds to start the boss fight. Since the hammer is tied to a player sensor, you need to activate it at the right time so the swing lines up with the enemy's position and the LCJ. The setup for it is to not get the race gate skip at the start, then get the moving LCJ and swing over to it straight away. This will ensure the hammer has good positioning nearly every time. The fling is the hardest part since the hitbox for the spikes is so aggressive. You should be aiming to jump off as quickly as you can and as close to the spikes as possible on this top right corner to get the most momentum. The timing is pretty precise, and needs to be approached with full running speed. So far the most effective method has been to stand in front of this middle layer platform and start running shortly after the hammer has stopped moving, with a full jump not long after that. I've tried to set up a traffic light system like in Subway to try and tell when the correct moment is to start running from this point, where while you're in the level, you play the video so the hammers are in sync. It's not perfect, but it's what I've used every time that I've gotten the skip in the real level. If the fling was powerful enough, and you also got the LCJ, then you should have made it. Once you've gotten through the roof, you should also hold left to aim for the lowest part on the ramp. And make sure not to jump up the ramp, as it's actually possible to get stuck inside this gap. It's much safer just to walk up. This trick is by far one of the hardest, if not the hardest trick in the entire game. It's not recommended to go for in runs, as the chances of getting it are so incredibly low. But who knows? Maybe with enough practice and analysis, it'll become consistent one day. And that's all of the construction site. A pretty punishing level if you don't know it well. We'll see you next time, where we'll be starting off the islands with Endurance Dojo. See you later.